Hello and welcome to our training video on creating a schedule in LiveTime scoring engine. We're going to go over today how we can create a schedule based on the class settings, what races and rounds look like, and how we can basically prepare the system to run races and rounds leading up to our main and declaring a winner. For this demonstration today, I have downloaded a IFMAR race that we've run in the past. We'll use that to have a lot of data to work with to demonstrate a lot of the features. So, let's start by actually clicking on the event itself and taking a look at it. I'm going to click on the registration tab under the event, and this is going to give me a listing of everybody I've registered. So we have 117 plus people here that we have registered into the system that are a part of certain classes that are ready to race. Now I'm going to click on the class tab and point out that per class, when I click on it and I click on the round tab, this is where I can set up and tell the system how many drivers I intend to run per race max for each round type. So you'll see here that all the rounds, a practice round, a seeding, qualifying, and main round, all have their own tabs. So we can change the settings and adjust based on the round type. For qualifying, when I go down here, you can tell we're running a time race and we're setting it to 10 drivers per race. That is telling the system that at max, allow 10 drivers to be in a race. If there was 16 drivers, for example, that were registered under this 1/8 GP racing class, the system is going to go, well, I can't create one race for it. I have to create two, and it will split them evenly. For practice, seeding, and qualifying, it would create 8 drivers in one race and 8 in another to make up the 16. The only exception to that is in a main round where we front stack it. So if I click on main and I look at it here, what this means is if I had 16 drivers in the 1/8 GP racing, the top 10 would make it into the A main, and then the remaining 6 would make it into the B. If I had something like 4 drivers here, then 4 would get to the B and 2 would make it to the C. So it just keeps filling it up as best it can to the top and on down. You got to make sure that all of your classes are set up the way you want, and then when we go to schedule, some of this will all start making sense and fitting together. So now that I've had it set, I'm going to actually click on schedule, and to start, there's nothing here. There's no rounds or anything. The system only allows you to start by creating your first round. So I'm going to do that, click create round, and walk through this wizard. It's a left to right wizard. You just go through each column and look at it, and if you scroll all the way over to the right, you can hit the generate button, and that will create the round with the races in it. So let me scroll all the way back to the left, and let's look at it in order. The first option is what type of round do I want? I'm going to create a qualifying round here, but this is also where you would choose if you wanted a main or if you wanted to do a practice round or a seeding round first. All of that would be selected here. The next is which classes do I want to create races for? I'm going to actually uncheck everything but the class we just talked about, that 1/8 GP racing. I can come back later and I'll demonstrate that if I want to, let's say, seed the Masters 40 plus as well. The next is the seeding option. How do I want to take data and bring it on in? We haven't run any races yet, so the options are pretty limited. I'm just going to tell it to set it by random order. But you could do it by driver ability, pill number, or maybe even the results of a prior race or series. Those are all different options. Once I select it, the system gives me a preview of what it's going to create. It's going to tell me how many people it's going to put in each race or heat and how many it's going to create. And you can select any of the classes you chose. So if I said I wanted to do both 1/8 and Masters, then I can select between the two and toggle between it. I'm going to uncheck Masters and go back to 1/8, and that'll be the only one I'm going to seed. I can detect if I want to allow for transponder rentals or car numbers, check those options as well or not, but I'm going to go ahead and hit generate. What this did then is it's randomly putting as many drivers as it can in every race, evenly split for as many heats as it did. So you can see here, it generated 12 heats. It fit everybody that registered under this class in as many races as it could. Now, I only put 1/8 GP racing into this race. And you can notice here on the left, there's a bunch more options that have now shown up in regards to what I can do with the schedule. I'm going to choose one of the first options here, which is seed Q1. So I created the first qualifier. That's the one I'm in right now, but I want to continue to seed it. So if I click on this round that I already created, it detects, all right, here are the classes that you haven't put races in yet. And I'm going to say, yep, I'm going to add master races into this round now. Check this. I'm going to random order that as well. And then I'm going to scroll it over and hit generate. And what the system does is it's going to add those master class races to the end here. You can see the 13th and 14th, we don't have as many people registered in the master class, but it did put the remaining 2 races at the back of the round. Now, if I don't like that, maybe I was going, hey, you know what? I actually want to run the masters before I run the 1/8 GP. On the left here, there's a button that says reorder races. I can click on it. Here's every race in order. Put your mouse over where the little grippy is next to each of these, and I can just drag it over the top. So I'm going to drag these 2 races in front of everyone else, hit save, and it'll renumber it. And now if I scroll all the way to the left, you'll notice the Masters Heat 1 and 2 are before all the GP races. Let's talk about some of the other options that are on the left-hand side on the schedule. First, let me point out that on the left-hand side, there's several vertical buttons that you can pop in and out. These are pop-outs just like you get on the racing screen, just like you get in open practice. I can click on it to pop them in and out. I'm going to point out the race lock one right away. If I click on it, it shows me a race, and I can go to any one of them. Like, let's say I want to go in the 9th race. Okay, here's race 9. And then if I scroll back and forth, you'll see 6, 7, 8, 10. All the other ones, I can scroll back and forth. So if I want to drag and drop somebody from race 9 into race 14, I can lock 9 into the left, scroll over to 14, and go, all right, click and drag, let go. And I can move it here. So here's a real easy way to be able to drag and drop drivers back and forth with this locked one in place. I'm going to take this person and move them back. You can go both ways with it as well. And if it becomes a renumbering thing where he was 11 over here, so it kept it as 11, you can always hit this number box here to renumber everybody in the race. Now it's 1 through 10 again. So I'm going to click back to setup. And as soon as I leave that flyout, 9 gets added back in this list. So it's back to showing 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, other things that you can do is on the left-hand side, there's also a flyout for drivers. So if I click on it, you're going to notice here are drivers that are registered for this event that aren't in any race yet. We had one class that we didn't seed yet, so of course those people are going to show up here. The other thing we can do is, let's say we remove somebody from a race. Like, let's remove Jose here. I'm going to right-click and say remove from race. Now they show up in this driver list where it says this is a driver that is also registered into the event, but we don't see him in any race in this round. I can scroll to any other place I want, and maybe I put him in race 10 and drag and drop him down. So here's another way to double check. You definitely want to use this, especially if you have late entries, if you want to make sure that all your drivers are in fact in a race before you start racing in your qualifying round or whatever round you're in. Also, now that I've generated all these races, there's probably a need for me to run a report. So if I click on the report flyout here, there's a lot of different buttons for looking at and viewing and then printing those reports. If you have printers set up, you can just hit the print button and it'll go right to the printer. But I'm going to hit on view lineup just to demonstrate what these reports look like. Once you click on them, they'll show up. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, page by page. But you have some options in your schedule reporting as well. Not only can you click the printer and print it, but if you want to export this to Word, Excel, if you want to make a PDF, or if you want to export to PNG files, images per page, which that's really handy if you want to then post that to like Facebook or other social media as images, you can click that and do that as well with these reports. Once you're done with the report, you can just click on the close button in the upper left. It takes you right back to the screen we were at. So those are all the other buttons on the left. Let me click back to setup. If I want to just blow away this round, there's this red delete button to say I'm going to delete the whole round. Be very careful though. Obviously, if you run some of these races and then delete the round, all of those race results go away too. So if you've already started running races for the round, that would likely you're not going to want to delete the whole round anymore. Once you're done with a qualifier, maybe you want to run a second qualifier, maybe you want to run a main, the next step would be to click the create round and go through the wizard one more time. We'll do that here in a bit, but let me go through the rest of the options as well. If you want to just make a complete copy, same races, same drivers in those races, you can go copy, put the amount of times you want, and hit the button. That will create a Q2, Q3, Q4, as many as you want that are exactly carbon copies of the same race. Just keep in mind that it's not going to resort them even in the same race by who got a faster time for the previous round. It's going to keep them in exactly the same order. So only copy when you want them to be the exact same order. If you do transponder rentals, you can automatically assign them with some buttons here. You can create a rental fleet and then assign it, and the system can go through and just assign transponders as appropriate. If you want to add an additional race, a single race in this round, here's all the options you can do for this. So let's say I want another Masters race to be at the very end of the round. I can click that class, hit add race, and the system will pop in a 15th race with nobody in it. Now with a blank race like this, no problem adding additional people to it. I can go in and I'll use that race lock feature. I'll find a Masters for one, and I can drag it right from 1 to 15, right? So maybe I want to split this in half. I can move all of these out, and you can see how it's doing. It's keeping all the numbers. So if you want to renumber it, you can hit that renumber, and now it's 1 through 4 again. I can drag and drop and move them around as I need to. I'm going to go back to setup. If you want to renumber all the races again, instead of clicking on renumbering each one of them, here's a handy feature for this. If you want to automatically finish the empty races that you don't intend to run, maybe you had a rain out, you can click this. We also have some cleanup options for deleting empty or incomplete races, or delete all the seating information that the system had, just in case you don't want to show that to the public as part of your printout. The last section here is race grids. If you're having if you're gridding up cars and you want to show them 2 wide, 4 wide, etc., you can use this to adjust the race grids across the entire race. So one of the reports, we had this lineup report, but there's also a staging report. This one is a lot more about the visually how they're going to line up. By default, they just show they're going to be one in front of the other. You can see that here. But let's say you want to do it like 4 wide. If I close back out and I go back to setup and I say I want 4 per row, and I'm going to override all the race grids. Now that that's done, if I go back to the report and go view my staging report, now you have a report that shows you how you should grid up all the drivers, and it's 4 wide, and it numbers them appropriately. So for some of these races, there's 9 in them. Some of there's 10. Here's how you should, do it horizontally 4 wide. So you can play with that to get reporting on how the cars are supposed to be positioned. Okay, here we are with some data loaded up from a prior event with plenty of qualifiers, plenty of races that we've run. So everyone's run 6 qualifiers. We have a whole bunch of data, and now we're ready to generate the main. But creating a main or creating the next round, it's the same idea. You're going to generate a round. You're going to choose what prior data you want to take into account to order people properly and then generate races. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create round here. I'm going to choose that I want to create the main round, and I'm going to choose that I want to create the main round and only seed the 1/8 GP races. I'm also here under the main seeding options. This is the really important part. This is the data it's going to use to order them. So qual points are an option. I can also even choose what's the fastest lap they got out of those 6 qualifiers, or use the best 3, or whatever I'd like to do. I may say use the best 1 here, so it's just that single lap. But you have a lot of options here how you want to order everybody. And as you're changing it, you probably notice these numbers have adjusted as well. So I say fastest lap and I go to top 2 consecutive. Okay, here are the people in order with top 2 consecutive, top 3, top 5 average, You can pick and choose however you want to sort this, and it's going to give you a preview of the order of people that it's going to use to then generate the races. In addition, if you want to, you can limit the amount of people that you generate by using the limits. You can start from a position and seed only the top X. So you can say, I want to seed only the top 5 people, and everybody else is not coming along. They're done for the night, they go home. So you can choose that as well. By default, everyone kind of comes through and we put them in the proper race. They go to the A if they're the top 10, and then the next 10 for the B main, and that'll tell you here as well, and you can adjust as needed. If you run a super poll or a last chance qualifier, the system allows you to bring those people in as well and adjust where they add into the list. You can say, I want to add that person in as it's the second position overall, and you can play with that as well. But ultimately, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a very perfect list here of the people in order based on how you want to rank them, and then you go over to the right and generate it, and the system takes care of the rest. It puts them all in order based on what you specify, and then it puts it lowest to highest. A side note, if you go to reports at this point and you view the lineup, the system not only shows you the racers in order, but if I zoom in here a little bit, it'll also show you the qual result, meaning this is the data that we use to put them in this position. This person was 111th, which put him here. If I go all the way, I'm going to go to the A main. You'll notice that the first place person is here, and that's because they got a 13,575. 13,577 on down. So if racers take a look at these reports, not only will they know what race they're in, but why. Here's the data that was used to put you in position 1, position 10, or position 30th, 40th, 50th on down. With that, that's how schedules are generated. It's a matter of going in, generating a round, then going to the race screen and racing, then come back and generating another round, rinse and repeat until you create a main, finish the main, and then the event is over and we can declare a winner. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in another video.